Hey everybody, today we're going to be covering a pretty dark case, so we do want to put a blanket trigger warning for child murder and sexual assault.
That's not something that you think you can handle, I would say skip this one and look forward to the next.
Yeah, go to the next, babes. Mm-hmm. Okay, thanks.
Bye. There was something actually I've been keeping, okay, so you know how my brain operates very quickly and I can't grasp certain things, and if I don't grasp it in the moment, I forget about it.
Yeah.
So I've noticed that I want to, throughout the week before we meet, I'm like, oh, I want to talk about something.
Oh, okay.
I always forget it, but now I've been keeping notes.
That's like a good way to improve your communication. I guess listening will be next. No, just kidding. What did you find? What do you... Tell me.
Oh, I was on TikTok.
Okay.
It's not as exciting as it was. I'm just happy I remembered.
Okay.
Because I wrote it down. There's this woman, her name is Vanessa Frakes. So she's this English woman. She's been going on podcasts and like doing different little outlets that like she gets interviewed because she used to be a corrections officer in a famous prison that's over in England.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And she like kind of talks about her time there. She was, you know how they call like the prison wards governors?
I didn't, but go ahead.
So she's a governor there. I don't know if she
they
currently...
call them there. Correctional officer governors.
Well, no. So like there's like
a warden?
No, a governor is like the top bitch.
That's like a warden.
Yeah, so she was a correction officer and then she worked her way up to top bitch. Governor.
Okay.
Not warden. It might be warden for us.
It's warden for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, governor for her.
Yes. So, and she kind of goes on to, and she talks about how there's a few famous serial killers that she met there along her time dealing with the prisoners. And
you name them?
Yeah, there was one woman that was named, fuck. I can't remember it. I think I actually put it down in our notes. I forget her name. It might have been like Vanessa. I don't know.
Just scream it out later when you remember it.
I won't remember her name at all. I would actually have to actively look. Do you want me to actively look?
No, it's okay. It's okay.
So it was like some serial killer. She was like an asshole. She killed like 8 women, and they were again ranging
woman crime.
Yeah, but she did it with the help of her at the time boyfriend.
Oh, lame.
Yeah, and apparently she was like a nun. She went to nunnery. She like was like a kind of put together woman until she met him, and then all of a sudden they were like, you know, what's a good idea is to kill women and children, and they did that. And it was like boys and girls, so they didn't discriminate. But it was kind of wild that again, another part. Oh, her nephew, his nephew, one of the nephews, they actually ended up outing the woman, this famous serial killer woman, and her husband.
Sounds like Karla Komolka.
Actually, okay, it's gonna bother me if I don't grab it. And I know I put it down. She killed people?
A Canadian, Karla Komolka.
A Canadian. I thought you said comedian. I said, what?
Oh.
She covers up the pain and hurt that she causes people with laughter.
Me.
Unclaimed topics. It is Rose and Fred West. So she had...
I know about Rose and Fred West.
You know about
I do know about Rose and Fred West.
So she was in direct contact with Rose.
Wow.
Yeah.
She was a fucking asshole.
She was.
She was a big piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
I've listened to a podcast on Rose and Fred West.
Yeah.
I hate them.
I know. They're a fucking awful couple.
Maybe we'll do one on them.
Apparently he killed himself. And like she was like happy because she was like, oh, I won't have to really do the time because he's dead.
She's in prison.
Yeah, no, yeah. She sure did do.
She did her time.
Vanessa goes, yeah, and she was fucking dead wrong about that because she's been in jail.
Fuck that bitch.
She might have died in jail. I don't know.
We wish. Would you want to bring us in?
Right now?
Yes.
Welcome back to the Hot Ghouls Club, Ghoul. Hey, Ghouls.
Hey, Ghoulies. It's Tara.
And Jamie.
We're happy to be back.
And as always, happy to be hot.
Happy to be ghouls.
Exactly.
And happy to be hot. I'm going to be doing the topic today. This is Tara. You can't distinguish our voices.
Sometimes they do
mesh.
Especially with the cack. The good old cackle.
Mm-hmm. The cack. Mm-hmm. So we're going to be doing a case today that is actually pretty dark.
Yeah.
And as I was typing it the other day, I was like, I don't know if I could do this, but I don't have enough time to like pivot.
So I was
you,
already in too deep.
Yeah, nailed the coffin in the grave, as one can say, so to speak.
What?
I don't know.
Okay, sorry, I was reading. Today, we're going to take you back to the summer of 1977.
Oh, fucking 70s.
I know. To a quiet town in Oklahoma. Yeah.
Oklahoma.
Where a tragedy unfolded at a Girl Scouts camp.
A Girl Scouts camp?
This is the story of the Oklahoma Girl Scout murders. 3 young girls brutally taken on their first night at camp.
Oh my God.
A case that to this day remains officially unsolved.
You're joking. How old were they? Does he say? I'm like already.
You'll learn.
Okay,
Yeah, she's
okay.
gonna get upset, guys.
I'm gonna get livid.
So Locust Grove, Oklahoma,
Okay.
is a small town where Camp Scott resides, and it was a haven for young girls for nearly like 50 years. But on June 13th, 1977, all of that changed. So it was in Mays County. I'm gonna bring up Mays County later.
Okay.
But it was like there was other people from other towns that went, not just from like Locust
So
Grove.
like they knew that the Girl Scouts were like known to frequent this camp.
It was a Girl Scout camp.
Specifically made for. Oh, so the
Camp
person
Scott.
that did this is extra fucking shitty. Like they knew they had their spot. They had their targets.
The person, or persons. We don't know. No, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad. I'm like nervous. Okay, 3 girls. Lori Farmer, 8.
Oh my God.
Michelle Guse, 9. And Doris Denise Milner, 10. Were assigned to tent number 7 in the Kiowa section of Camp Scott. The excitement of the summer was in the air, but within hours, the joy would turn into horror.
Oh my God.
Let's take a moment to learn about these 3 young girls full of life and promise. So Denise Milner was the oldest. She had worked hard to earn her way to camp, selling enough Girl Scout cookies to cover the cost. It's horrible.
I hate this.
But as the trip approached, she grew nervous. And kind of like towards the last minute, she told her mother she didn't want to go. Like she was kind of crying on the bus and everything, but her mother reassured her, promising her that if she didn't like it, she could call home and be picked up the next day. She just wanted, and this is a very like common thing for moms to do, as they should do. Like, you're nervous, you're apprehensive. She's like, but you like worked so hard to go to this. And you really wanted to go, so you're gonna go.
Yeah, like literally, she was like, "You're gonna have the best time. You've been dreaming to do this." And she's just trying to get her girl to have her happy time. And that, like, how crazy at such a young age, she truly had like that gut feeling, like this is not like the people before the Titanic. Like this is not. I shouldn't be here.
Yeah, and a counselor, I think in training, actually saw her like kind of getting upset on the bus and everything, and approached her, and like saw that this was happening, and tried to comfort her. You're gonna have all this fun. I've been doing this for years. She sat with her on the bus, and the mom, Denise Milner's mother, was like, please, if Denise wants to call, make sure that she can get in touch with me.
Yeah, like there's no reason for them to even think anything wrong, because it's been going for so long that they wouldn't think anything wrong has happened, because it hasn't yet.
And it's the 70s. And it was a 1-week drivable distance. And the counselor did obviously reassure her that yes, like if she wants to call you, like she can. So that's Denise. Then Michelle Guse had actually attended the Camp Scott the previous year, so she was really excited to go. I believe she actually was going with 2 of her friends, but they had backed out at the last minute, so she was a little apprehensive about going as well. But she kind of went without incident.
It'd be interesting to see like how many people actually backed out last minute.
Quite a few. People who have like come out saying like, I was supposed to be at that camp that week.
That's so fucking crazy.
And then Lori Farmer was also new to the experience. She was the youngest. She was actually choosing between 2 different camps. She was choosing between Camp Scott and then YMCA camp, right?
Oh my God.
And she ultimately obviously chose Camp Scott by the encouragement of her mother. So her mother obviously held on that for years.
It probably was like, this is a great time for you to bond with other girls, like really create like that lifelong childhood like friendship.
Yes. And she even had to choose which week that she was going to be going, and her mother picked the week.
That's so like
Okay, it gets worse. That Saturday was Lori's 9th birthday. And she was like the oldest of 6 kids or something. And her mom and dad and all the kids were going to come pick her up at camp with like all of them to surprise her.
I'm literally about to cry. That's so fucking terrible. Okay.
was horrible.
I know, it's just so sad because it's like we have Lily. She's essentially like a niece to us.
Yeah.
She's somebody that's very close, and she's around that age range. I also have another blood related niece that's again around that age range, and just to like think
Oh my God, I can't believe
anything.
you're relating this to them. That's gonna kill me.
I know, that's why I'm like I know these people.
Yeah.
Like I know girls that are that age, and they just like want, like they have these super close relationships with their girlfriends, that they have these extracurricular activities like they do, and it's just, I don't know.
My kids will never go to camp. Sleepaway camp? No.
No, oh God, no.
Day camp.
I'm not even gonna
15-minute drive.
I'm not letting Archer do any sleepovers
I'm not
outside
letting
of my
my
house.
kids.
You can do it here. You can't do it out there.
Nope. Oh, I just want to see something. Okay. So, on June 12th, 1977, the three girls arrived at Camp Scott by bus. They were among dozens of campers eager for a week of adventure, and the campgrounds were vast. There's a couple of maps and stuff. I'm going to mention a website later, like where you can see it, but it was a pretty large piece of land, and the sections were broken up so that like they were within their age group, so that's why the three of them were together. It was probably like 8 to 10 or something that. And then older girls were in another section. They were in the section called Kiowa. So all of the sections were named after Native American like tribes or names.
Okay.
And even though it was a pretty large, vast piece of land, like if you saw the aerial, you're like, wow, that's pretty big. It wasn't that they were like super far apart, the sections, but the trees in between them
I just
were
feel like it's
very
like
dense.
a great way to get the kids like more immersed into nature, which is I'm sure the whole idea of Girl Scouts is to kind of get them back to that. So I can kind of feel that vibe of why the camp was set up the way it was to get the girls in their own age group truly submersed.
Yes, and it's Oklahoma. I think it has like a lot of woods.
The room.
They have the room. It's a pretty large piece of land. The woods are very dense. Everybody is sleeping in tents. And this particular area, Kiowa, for whatever reason, the tents were set up in like a semicircle. So it was tents 1 through 7, and that's where the campers slept. And then there was a counselor's tent.
Okay.
But the counselor's tent was like actually more at the beginning of a semicircle. So it was like, here's the counselor's tent and then a semicircle. And then like technically tent number 7 was directly across from them. Right?
Yeah. That setup, I feel like I would have had the camp counselor be set right in the middle.
Right. Because also there was a building directly between the counselor's tent and tent number 7. So they couldn't even see them. They couldn't even see their tent.
Because also imagine being like that young and say like you do need your camp counselor in the middle of the night for what have you. Like you're going to be a little girl like traversing in pitch blackness around a whole building to get to your counselor. That would scare the shit. I'm afraid of the dark personally. That would scare the absolute bejesus out of me.
That's like the dark.
Yeah.
Like that's not like
Like
the dark
no
in your
lights.
house.
There's no light
Only
pollution
the moon
anywhere.
and the stars.
Yeah. Probably beautiful.
Gorgeous, but no.
No.
And then the way that the tents were, they were fabric tents
Okay.
that were on, so there was, each tent had a raised wooden platform.
Okay.
And then the tent itself was kind of held up by poles and ropes. It was like that
Like old
traditional
school.
green,
Yeah.
like teepee looking like fabric. And they were on cots that were kind of high up, but they were on cots they would lay on with their sleeping bags. But the way to get in and out of the tents was just a flap of fabric and like some string. They weren't in any sort of like cabins.
They're not bears.
Right. Truly, like coyotes, wolves,
Like, you
bears,
guys are not afraid of like animals?
raccoons. Right.
I couldn't do it. I was like, Mom, YMCA.
Well, that's so true. Like, also, like, I'm sure, like, little kids might have candy or food. Like, they know they're not that good at, like, probably
Thinking
keeping it
about
clean.
like animals and what would attract them. I mean, I don't know. Girl Scouts, is that the number one thing that you're taught? I've never been.
I was a Girl Scout up until, like, a brownie, but that's, like, doesn't mean anything.
What, I was
It's
going to
you're
say,
a
what does that
sunflower-
mean?
No, you're a sunflower and then you're a brownie.
Sunflower.
Yeah, I'm pretty. Oh, no, you're a daisy. Sorry, you're a daisy and then you're a sunflower. I know.
Cute.
Oh, my God. Cut this out. You're a daisy and then you're a brownie. A daisy, then a brownie. But, I, like, obviously this happened like 20-something years after the murder, so maybe they changed it up a little bit when I was a Girl Scout.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I guess, the whole camp, the purpose of it was more of like, I don't know how much of like wilderness training it was. It was
Okay.
like building friendships, doing
Yeah.
crafts, singing
Yeah.
songs, going swimming. You
Like,
know, kind of
cute,
like, yeah, like cute. Like
Yeah.
we're not killing squirrels here, girls. But it did feel a little rustic to me.
Yeah.
Not my vibe.
No, I feel like the tying the fucking string on.
There's no keeping anybody in or out.
You better house me up in that fucking building because I'm not sleeping in that
You're gonna let your kids sleep in that?
tarp.
No.
Okay. I'm not homeless. All right. I didn't get to that street life yet.
So the girls actually wound up together, I think, kind of by chance too.
Okay.
Not by like chance, but like other girls had like already chosen, I think, who they're gonna be with.
Okay. It wouldn't be assigned. It would be choosing.
I think choosing it first, and since they
It's nice, I
well,
guess,
the three of
if
them
you know
didn't really
people.
know anyone from, so I understand. So they
They got grouped together. Okay.
And so it was an ordinary, first day of camp. Everybody was getting settled. I'm sure they set up like their tents and like got their sleeping bag settled, did head count, all that.
Yeah.
And then eventually they made their way to the Great Hall, which is where they eat.
Okay. I was just
For
gonna
dinner.
ask. Yeah.
So I guess it happened around 6:00. And then while they were in the Great Hall, they were having dinner. A huge storm rolled in, like a rainstorm.
Yeah. So what are you gonna do in that tarp?
So, well, they didn't really mention that. Like, I guess it was semi-waterproof because they didn't really talk about the tents on the inside.
That's
getting
literally
wet.
what I was thinking about the whole time. I was
I
like,
know,
how
me
are they
too.
not gonna get wet inside?
But I think maybe there was some sort of repellent or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
making an assumption. I'm hoping.
Yes.
But anyway, so they stayed in the Great Hall probably a little bit longer than they normally would. Did songs like they sang songs and waited for the rain to pass, and then they also had the girls write letters home.
Now, question: do you know if the workers that were there, was that all women or was it men and women that were working?
There were men and women, but they
Okay.
were also pretty young. I think there were
Okay, yeah,
majority
yeah.
of them,
like
especially-
college students kind of deal.
Yes, I think the majority of them were women because they were all Girl Scouts who had been in the camp before. But there was like there was a camp director that was a woman, but her husband, who was an ER nurse, was actually there. Like there was no men. And
Don't love that.
so they had the little girls write letters home, and they all did get their letters. Like the parents did eventually get the letters back. And Lori and Michelle, I think, were positive, like talking about it raining, but that they were having a good time. Like Lori named Michelle and Denise as new friends, I think, or I think one of them did made a mention of making new friends and stuff. But Denise was like, "Mom, I don't like camp. I want to come home. Like, please come get me. You're a loving child." Like her name was Doris Denise Milner, but she was with everything I've read and all the docs. And
She
stuff,
went by Denise.
She went by Denise.
Yeah. That's my older brother has that.
So it's really sad. Like she just wanted
That's
to
so
come,
fucking terrible. She's like, Mom, I'm having a fucking good time at all.
like, Mommy, come get me. No, it was horrible.
I don't even know how I'd like function as a human after reading that note. After was it after everything came to light? Like what happened to them that they got these letters?
Yeah. Yeah, like once they went and collected their
Oh
things.
my god.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So, they wrote their letters and then they eventually had to make a dash for their tents. All the campers went to their tents, settled down for the night. The counselors did mention that they were all up probably till past midnight. I think the rain stopped at 11.
Okay.
And they were all up
I could
about
see why that would
till
keep them
midnight
up.
to like, there was like giggling and, settling in. Mm-hmm. And then one counselor, I believe her name is Carla Wilhite. This haunts her. But she,
Sure.
like, at night, she started hearing, like, a weird noise, like, coming from the woods. And she's like, it wasn't, like, human or animal. Like, it was guttural. Like, it was these weird noises, right? And so she, like, would try and she thought more so that it was an animal.
Oh my god.
Like a raccoon or something, right? So she shined the light into the woods. This, I think, is, like, really, like, around midnight or something. Shining the light into the woods. And, like, the closer she would get, the noise would stop. And then she would turn around and leave, and the noise would start again. Very weird. But she couldn't figure out what it was, so she eventually just went back to her tent.
Fucking want to I want to throw up.
Okay. You're going to want to throw up. By 11, so by 11 p.m., the storm had passed. Campers and counselors were awake past midnight, excited and restless on their first night. Then in the darkness, something terrible happened. At 7 a.m. the next morning, the counselor, Carla Wilhite, At 7 a.m. the next morning, Carla Wilhite, the camp counselor I just
Yeah.
mentioned, I believe she was walking near the Kiowa campsite. I think she was the Kiowa campsite counselor, but she was like walking near it. I think she wanted to get up and get ready for the day, so she wanted to get up before everybody, so she left her tent, and while she was walking, she noticed what looked like sleeping bags underneath, like at the bottom of a tree, just off the main road. And she thought, I've heard that she thought maybe like the bus came back and dropped off like some things that they forgot to unload. Like it just looked like a pile of sleeping bags.
Like, okay.
And they were like kind of half on the road, kind of half off the road, but under, like at the bottom underneath the tree. As she got closer, she realized on top of the sleeping bags was the body of Denise Milner. To Carla, Denise did appear deceased.
So she wasn't even questioning if she was just sleeping. She was just, like, she knew.
She was gone. At first, she thought Denise had collapsed after potentially like running into the tree. Like that's kind of what she thought. Like maybe she like took her sleeping bag out. Like she was trying to rationalize. She was trying to rationalize what she was looking at because it wasn't natural to her, obviously.
Yeah.
So Carla then ran to wake the other counselors so they could take head count of all the counselors.
Of all the girls.
Yeah, Carla ran then wake up all the counselors so that they could take head count of the campers.
Yeah.
And then while they were doing that, they realized that all 3 girls from tent number 7 in the Kiowa area were missing.
The way I'm sure, like, their hearts fucking drop.
I mean, these are kids themselves. These are like 18, 19, 20-year-olds looking after 8, 9, 10-year-olds. There's like 15-year-olds that are counselors in training.
With never even anything happening for years. The 30 years that they were doing this for. 50 years that they were doing this for, nothing happening, and everything always coming and going as like a happy
go lucky Camp Scott. Okay.
I can't.
Carla then ran to the camp director's cabin, whose husband I mentioned before was an ER nurse. And as she was like kind of explaining to them what she saw, the ER nurse, he took off. He went sprinting towards the direction that she said that they were at, the Kiowa. He got to the body first. He was actually already like examining it and trying to see if there's anything he could do to save her.
Yeah.
He was
like
an
if
ER
there was
nurse.
the sign of life that the other one missed.
100%.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there was not. Denise was dead.
Was he able to tell on the scene like what caused the death, or are you gonna get to that?
I don't think he could have necessarily told, but it was pretty gruesome.
Really?
Yes.
Fuck.
They soon also discovered that Michelle and Lori were stuffed in the other 2 sleeping bags that were right next to Denise, like kind of stuffed into them towards the bottom.
And this is a cold case?
Just hold on.
Oh my god.
All 3 girls had been brutally beaten, sexually assaulted, and ultimately murdered. Denise had also been strangled.
I'm gonna, like, when you were saying that the counselor heard the guttural, like, not human-like, not animal-like, like, whatever that was.
It wasn't at the time of the murders that she wasn't, like, coming upon that.
Interesting.
So
I wonder if it was the guy... like, I'm sure, like, yeah, because I think she's probably in my headspace. I'm like, what if I'm sure she thought, like, if I had just really investigated, if I just kept going, if I just took those few extra steps, if I just, you know what I mean?
Well, if it was a person like in the woods, you're right. Like if she did just take those, well, who knows? She could have been killed herself.
She could have been, absolutely, yeah.
Or she could have come upon a man and maybe spooked him. But also could have been hurt.
Yeah, I would say more than likely her. I think he would have taken it right to the last second of him staying and hiding. And I think this person had the idea. I think he had the motive. And I don't think he would have been easily deterred from what he came to do that night.
So everybody, I just want you to know, Jamie had no idea what I was talking about.
No, I had no idea.
Like, she's going through it.
Yeah.
She's having a very natural reaction, which I like because it is a very complicated case.
It is. And it's like, I haven't heard of this.
No,
I've never heard of this.
It's going to get worse.
Lovely. Okay.
It does get worse. So when they were discovered, Denise was only dressed like from the top up, like her pajamas and I think her underwear were removed. And so the ER nurse, not great for like a crime scene.
Yeah.
But because he took the sleeping bag and kind of draped it over her so that like she had a little bit more respect.
Yeah.
Obviously like he was a father himself.
think
So, and he was a
that
nurse.
would just be not even thinking reaction.
It's not, you're not even like, oh, let's preserve.
It's not,
And it's the 70s too. It's a little bit different. You would come to discover, like I said, sexually assaulted. 2 of them were actually raped, and 1 not raped was sexually assaulted. All were like bludgeoned to death, essentially. But Denise was strangled, I believe. Denise was actually warm.
So she was
the last to pass.
Yeah.
And they believe that the other 2 were kind of like, they were
that's
almost
like recent.
stiff.
Like that means that so she was the last.
Well, yes, there's hold on. So obviously a shockwave had rippled through the camp.
Yeah.
This is at 7 a.m. You're like really going through it. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
You're like, yeah. The counselors did what they could to distract the campers, splitting them into groups, doing crafts, taking a walk, hiking, and singing. Like, I think it was a reporter I watched a documentary on, said that it was kind of eerie because, like, as you were walking around the camp, like, because there was reporters obviously there, you could like hear a little girl singing. Like, it was a little like probably creepy, but they were trying
to preserve their own innocence of the other girls, and like I'm sure.
Yes, and they did on June 13th, 1977. After that incident, camps got closed and had never opened again.
I mean, how could you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So the parents were told, and also the way that, so the parents were told, they were called, and they were told that there was an accident, and were asked to, I think, pick up their children, but I think, like, meet at, like, the bus place, because they weren't even told, like, if their kids were the ones that are okay. They just had to anxiously wait for their kids to get off the bus.
How? Mentally, like...
Just that there had been an accident, and the
and
camp is closing immediately.
And you're waiting. But did they separate the other parents that had actually, like, so they got them right?
No. No. The parents of Lori, Michelle, and Denise learned of their daughter's murders through the media.
Oh my God.
They were contacted by the president of the Girl Scouts on the day of, but not until I believe like 11 p.m., but that there was an accident and that their daughters had died. No mention of the brutality, no mention that it was murder, that it was like rape. And it has also been said that the head of the Girl Scouts first called the insurance company, his attorney, and then started to inform the parents. Mm-hmm.
You have your priorities so fucked. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't care, like... Mm-hmm. Imagine being like, oh, this terrible thing happened. Let me make sure my shit's in order before I even let the parents of the girls come, explain to them what happened, have them separated from the rest of the parents.
No. So what I'm assuming is obviously they weren't told what the other parents like to come get your kids. Like the other parents.
Somehow the media was alerted and they were there first before the parents. Is wild.
Yes. Yeah, so we'll get into the crime scene. So the crime scene itself was chaotic.
Sure.
So investigators arrived by 8 a.m., but the crucial evidence may have already been compromised, obviously.
Yeah.
The press was allowed dangerously close to the crime scene. Inside tent number 7, blood was smeared across the wooden platform, and footprints stained with blood trailed inside the platform. Like, there was blood on the fabric. And investigators believed that Lori and Michelle were attacked inside of the tent.
You know what's fucked up?
What?
A thought process that I had just now is that I almost wish and hope that he bludgeoned each girl in the head and knocked them out so they didn't experience a fucking thing of this. Like, one by one while they were sleeping.
So I think that is kind of the theory of Lori and Michelle, not Denise. Because I think Lori and Michelle...
like, I'm not having a fucking good time at all.
I know, and she had like the worst time.
She had absolutely the worst time.
So they believe that they were attacked, like bludgeoned in the tent, and that's why there was blood spatter in the tent, and there was bloody footprints in the tent as well, and then their body, for whatever reason...
Like a man's footprints or the kids? Do you know?
Like an adult.
Okay.
And then Denise was likely taken alive before being murdered.
Oh my God.
And scattered near the crime scene were a few puzzling items like glasses and compact brushes, but also like just in the surrounding area there was just a lot of garbage. Like, it wasn't necessarily tied to.
And even if like he was dragging the girls out, these things could have just been
their
caught
stuff.
by,
exactly.
Yeah.
Like, what is the path really showing us at this point?
Yeah.
But there was an item that did stand out. It was one of those large like flashlights that has a handle with a garbage bag over the lens, cut in a way that only allowed a small amount of light to pass through, likely so that the perpetrator could navigate the woods without being seen. Like he was just showing like where he was walking.
Planned.
And they actually airlifted the wooden platform out for testing because there was bloody footprints, and they found a size 9.5 male footprint.
So, like, okay.
Or a very large woman.
I'm telling you right now, there's a reason why women hate men. Mm-hmm. And it's clear and concise, and history shows us why we hate men so much time and time and time and time again. Because it's 9 times out of 10, it's the man that does these kind of fucking things. Mm-hmm. Go on.
Investigators theorize that the killer fled around 6 a.m. because that's when the counselor's alarm went off. And as I mentioned before, because Denise's body was still warm, like when it was discovered. So they think that this was happening. Mm-hmm. An alarm went off. It kind of spooked him, told him he had to get going.
And then he killed her as quick as he could.
Or who knows if she was, dead at that exact moment or something. Yeah, unfortunately.
Okay,
very horrible.
Oh, so he didn't get to finish out what he did to the other girls. Sort of, maybe
that's why she was strangled.
And wasn't because she was the only one that didn't really show signs of penetration. But
no, she was.
Oh my god.
Yeah. No, I don't know about the word penetration, but I don't know that they were raped. I believe she was one of the ones that were raped. The other ones would have been raped post-mortem.
That's after death, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I thought. But it
was not, yeah. But they didn't go into detail about that, like in any of the
documentaries. Thank God, yeah.
In case you're wondering. So yeah, are you okay?
Yeah, I am obviously going through it. Mm-hmm. I think it's something that anybody that's hearing this for the first time probably would have the same reaction. I think that it's just so fucking disappointing and disgusting that people are like that.
Mm-hmm. It was an extremely brutal case. It was
very brutal, and it's just like 3 girls that are like just starting off their lives, and literally
it seemed it's obviously senseless. It seemed obviously unwarranted. There was no like obvious suspect that the parents could think of immediately.
And it's just like I think that he probably was like scoping out these friends and the girls for a few nights, I'm sure.
Well, it was their first night.
It was their first night?
It was their first night.
It wasn't. I thought this
was the very first night. Girl.
And she was already like, I fucking hated it.
He was like, get me home.
Sometimes the outdoors is just not for people. It's
interesting you say that because I will touch a little bit on something like that later on. Yeah. But I'm very, I'm intrigued by why. No, not why. I'm intrigued to where your mind is going to because you're thinking of it like I've like heard about this case before.
Yeah.
So I think I was just always hearing the facts. I wasn't really thinking too much. I think going into like a suspect, but it's interesting that your thoughts because it's not an easy. It's like a very complicated case, and it's not that I even have like that much left. Like it's just very complicated.
It's like the facts of the case and how it lays out. It's because it doesn't need much to invoke such feeling. You know what I mean?
It doesn't. It completely rocked this community, like in ways. Like, I mean, the girls were from I think like all like little towns.
Yeah.
Like Michelle Guse was actually there's a documentary Keeper of the Ashes that's like done by Kristen Chenoweth, the original Glinda on Wicked.
Oh wow!
And because she is from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, which is where Michelle Guse was. She's like I didn't know her. She's like would I pass her in the hallway and say hi? She was actually supposed to go to that camp. But
that's
she got
trippy.
It's trippy. So that she kind of like helped like doing the whole documentary.
Yeah.
And Broken Arrow was one of the towns one of the girls were from, Locust Grove. I think it's all within Mays County. And it's something that like I know for sure Denise Milner's mom is still alive and so are Lori Farmer's parents. Michelle Guise's parents weren't in the documentary, so I don't know if that's because they passed or whatever, but Michelle Guise's mom was a teacher in the elementary school. It was like, I mean, it was Oklahoma. It's a small, there's pockets of small towns. I feel like
that's a lot of times with small towns, everybody is so close and they're so closely knit together that when it does like when something like this happens, it's not even like a ripple in the community. It's like a tsunami in the community. Like it's oh my god,
it's gonna get really bad. Okay, so a suspect quickly emerges. Yes. During a search of the surrounding woods, authorities discovered an abandoned cellar or cave. And something to know about like this area of the woods, like in this just
so like moonshiny.
No.
Okay.
This just whole area of Oklahoma, there are a lot of caves, so searching was really hard, but there were also a lot of like old cellars from old like abandoned houses too. So they were like
Interesting.
old cellars that are essentially were a cave, but it technically was a cellar.
Yeah.
So inside they found signs of someone living there. There was 4 unlit fires arranged in a semicircle, plastic tape, and photographs of women. The fires were potentially something sacred within the Native American culture too. The photos were traced back to Jean Leroy Hart, an escapee. Hart had been serving time for the brutal rape and kidnapping of 2 pregnant women, assaults so violent that the women were left for dead.
But they survived.
They survived.
Babies?
I think the babies were fine. I didn't get any of that. He had escaped just 4 months earlier.
Women, so he like targeted.
So he kidnapped 2 women. They were like 19 and pregnant, got them in his car, drove them out to the woods, tied them up, and then took turns raping and sodomizing them. And then I think took them to another place, tied them up, put tape on their mouths and their noses so that they couldn't breathe, covered them with leaves, and just like dipped. But one of the women was able to wiggle herself out
Yeah.
and save the other woman too. And they escaped. And then he was convicted of this.
And he escaped. And wait, what year?
Sorry.
What year?
Sorry. He didn't necessarily, he had like left them. This I believe was like 5 or 4 years earlier. It was like 73, I think it happened.
Okay.
So he was serving time in prison, and he had escaped 4 months before the murders.
Is he local to the area? Like, would he know that there were?
Yes, he was also of Native American descent.
Oh my god. And what's his fucking guy name? What's his name?
So he's Jean Leroy Hart, but he goes by Gene Hart. Or it's Leroy Gene Hart. I can't remember, but he goes by Gene Hart.
Well, you sound like a shitty fucking.
I mean, even if he didn't do the murders of these 3 girls, he's a shitty person. I
Well,
couldn't
yeah.
find anything
For sure.
that said that he had denied doing the rape and kidnapping.
pregnant women?
Right. Like, I know that he was convicted of it, and obviously he could have denied it.
But you don't see anything that he said not guilty. Like he.
Right.
Okay.
For 10 months, a manhunt ensued.
Yeah. Where's this
10
man?
months after the murders. Authorities, volunteers, and even tracking dogs scoured the region, but Hart always seemed one step ahead. At one point, they did this, like, you know how, like, they'll spread along the lines of, like, the woods?
Yes.
And they'll do that searching where you just...
Yeah, by grid.
200 people showed up. Volunteers, police officers, like, first responders.
I bet you people from like
apparently drunk
10 towns over were coming through.
with weapons.
Yes, this is the witch hunt I
No,
want.
apparently they had to arrest people at the search because they were disorderly. Like, make
Come
it
on,
more
get-
work.
Yeah,
Get it together.
You can be tipsy, but like at least you know what I
can have
mean.
a little thing. Yeah, of course.
If you need some liquid courage, absolutely, that's the perfect time to use it. But let's not take away from you being able to pickfork this fucking guy to death.
100%.
I'm just like guilty. Go ahead.
Okay. But his ties to the local Native American community made the case even more complicated.
Yeah.
Many in the community did not believe he was responsible, viewing the pursuit as a racially charged witch hunt.
Okay, but like your boy did serve time for raping 2 pregnant women and like thought he killed them.
Right. And I don't know I don't know if he's ever denied that. And just a little bit of Gene Hart's history.
Yeah.
He was like an all-American kid. Like, he was a star football player. He actually got several full ride scholarship offers to go to school for football. For some reason, he ultimately decided not to go to college. He got married very young, got married and had a kid. And then when the marriage broke up is like when his life apparently went downhill, and that's when he like started doing stuff like that, like just not being like as good as a person, but it was also just like a total 180 from the person he was growing up. But that happens.
So weird.
It happens.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure substance abuse was probably really heavy in that, but like, grow up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
And it was the 70s.
Yeah.
And there's no denying that the United States government has been historically horrible to Native Americans.
Yeah.
And so there is a lot of that.
yeah, and it could be a lot of
Okay, so especially because of the fact that he was already convicted.
That's what I'm saying. Is that he was already convicted.
Like, you already have something of
And
guilt.
I'm sure the woman saw him. Like, I don't think that's a face you would
Right.
soon forget.
No, it's not. He didn't. There was no mention of them being blindfolded or anything.
Yeah, exactly.
But a lot of what, like, I think I was gonna mention this later, but I'll just mention it now. Mm-hmm. And this is kind of like, anyway.
Pete Weaver was the sheriff at the time that Gene Hart was like arrested and convicted for the other crimes and in prison and escaped. So there was a lot of thought that he had a personal vendetta against Hart.
So because he essentially matched the description of the scene and he had escaped and he had already done
Really
a
just because
brutal
yes, he already had
crime.
done those brutal crimes and he had escaped. That they just thought like he had picked this guy and like that's who it was going to be. And
Yeah.
like there was a lot of like,
instead of actually making sure it wasn't just another fucked up
and
guy.
so like really what's like being tested, what's like really being collected at the site, like if you're already going into a crime scene with a biased point of view, you're only going to be
Yeah.
looking at certain things, and that's when you can miss crucial evidence.
And you can also easily make the things that you find fit the storyline and the narrative that you want it to fit.
Yes.
So
He didn't seem like the best guy, but nevertheless, Gene Hart was a convicted rapist and attempted murderer and kidnapper.
and should be in jail anyways.
And should be in jail anyways. But they did spend a lot of money, time, and resources.
But imagine like during the grid hunt, so sorry to cut you off again, that the guy that actually did the crimes, because so often it does happen,
He's
is
there.
that he's there
know.
and watching everything unfold.
I mean, there's theories, though, that it wasn't just one guy, like, or one person. I know, it's really bad. But anyway, in April of 1978, a tip led the authorities to a remote cabin.
Okay.
Hart was arrested and charged with the murders of Lori Farmer, Michelle Guse, and Denise Milner. The trial was highly publicized and deeply polarizing. Hart's defense team dismantled the prosecution's case, calling into question the evidence found in the cave. They argued that the photographs had been inside the sheriff's desk before Hart's escape, casting doubt on their legitimacy. Hart also wore a size 11 and a half, not the 9.5 footprint they found in the tent. It's pretty damning.
Yeah.
And I also saw that like they had like witnesses testify like on the stand about like Sheriff Pete Weaver's.
Did he keep like this American boy? His name is so unimportant to me. I can't remember it. Did he have like people that he kept close to? Like, was there other like a group that he ran with that was just as fucked up, you think, or what do you think? Because obviously you're not going to put your size 11 and a half shoe into a 9.5 foot, you know, you're not going to jam your Piggly Wigglies in there.
I'll be honest with you, I do not know. Like, I am very confused by this case because I think that if the evidence that they found near the murders like were
like, did they look at the men that were their shoes that worked?
Well, that's the thing. Like, yes, it was also in the 70s. Who knows if like a police officer is the one that made the footprint or something like that. And so
So like the timing of when they found all this evidence could have been not exactly like right when it should have been.
Right, like there was reporters in and out of the crime scene. It wasn't a necessarily super secure camp by any means either. Like you could have just walked in and out.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of circumstantial evidence. I think like Gene Hart's mother's house was very close to there. Like I think the cellar with which they found all these things was from his abandoned like childhood home. And like the 4 Sacred Hearts like ties him to being Native American.
Yeah.
The photographs were his, but were they left in the prison when he escaped? There was also a pair of glasses there that were later found to be one of like somebody else's at the camps that were stolen out of their tent. You find out that like things were taken out of other campers' tents.
Yeah.
So who knows if the guy was like starting to burglarize and then like decided to do what he did at the end.
What do you think? Do you think it was him, or do you think it was somebody else, or do you think it was multiple people?
What I think is that they've never presented anything else, so it's so hard to even decide.
Yeah.
I don't think that he's a good person
Yeah.
because he also
But
like,
he might not necessarily have been the one to have done this. What do you think?
I kind of think it was him.
You think it was him?
I kind of think it was him.
Okay.
Because like
the profile of what he had done to the first 2 women was very similar to what he had done to the 3 of them.
Yeah.
And if he's already like an escapee from prison, like staying within the area, staying within his like community, like
I mean, the MO seems to be the same too. Like women, children.
right, he did go younger, but still 19 is young.
It was what was available to him too. Yeah, 19 is young.
I mean, I guess it's
it's
kinda interesting
definitely
that
a jump and a leap from 19 to like 10, 9, 8. But I think too that, like I was saying, like I think it's just something that was available to him to where he was, and it was something quick.
Exactly. And it would be probably the 19-year-olds like were able to escape. Like you have less of a chance.
And he
when
did
you're 8, 9, 10.
the same thing happened to those pregnant women too.
Exactly. And so, you know, what really, I think the thing is that because Sheriff Pete Weaver had such like close ties to Gene Hart in particular, and he really did seem like he was on a witch hunt for Gene, and in the tension within the state with Native Americans and the white population and the government was so high.
Yeah.
And because of other things that like so
Like he had the right mind, but not the right actions.
maybe I don't know how great Sheriff Pete Weaver was, but yes, like, but the thing is, he should have just looked at the evidence. He shouldn't have looked at like the evidence with the person in mind.
Separated from.
Yes, he was. I don't think he was like a good detective by any means.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Maybe he's a good cop, but he's not a good detective.
Yeah,
But I doubt that either. There was also something else like within the trial. So the original district attorney that was supposed to try the case within the county was Sid Wise. But he was later, like right before I think the trial started, like it was found out that he was talking to a local reporter about a book deal regarding the crimes, and then when asked about it on stand, I think he lied, something like that. So he lost all faith by the people.
Yeah.
And so the prosecutor from Tulsa, Oklahoma, Buddy Fallis, actually had to step in to prosecute Gene Hart. And I mean, he was a good prosecutor by all means.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, it was just breaking the public's opinion of the state. And I don't know how they did it, but Hart's defense team also got them to do the trial in Mays County because they felt like he had a better chance of like a fair trial if he was within his own community, which I think is like fucked up because it shouldn't be in your community. Yeah. They had to interview 900 people before they got down to 12 jurors that they felt were unbiased enough to be able to be the people within this trial.
That's wild because it's like, what type of people are those?
Exactly. And so not only did they get, I think, like jurors to, not sorry, jurors, I think they got witnesses to be able to crack holes within the prosecution's case. They also had, like, I think, character witnesses and everything. And one of Hart's defense attorneys, in a documentary I watched, said, I don't need to prove his innocence. They need to prove his guilt.
Yeah.
And I'm like, shit, like, that's like, yeah, you're right. Like, you don't have to say he didn't do it. You just have to prove that he did. And I need to poke holes in the story of what he did.
Yeah.
And even at one point, so this was also really hard, obviously, for the families of the victims.
Yeah.
Because from my understanding, they believed it was him. Mm-hmm. They felt like the evidence was strong enough. The sheriff even promised them it was going to get wrapped up much sooner than it did. I mean, it happened 10 months after. He wasn't arrested for 10 months after the crime.
Yeah. So
and
you
then
have to do that almost a year.
I think it was another 2 years before the trial happened.
Oh my God.
So
yeah, so like obviously too, I think it's so fair for the parents to be presented this guy on like essentially a silver platter and saying, this is your man, he's done, here's his history. You know, you don't really have to question what kind of person he is because we know what kind of person he is. And assuming the jurors are also going to, the jurors will also see that too.
Well, they felt very alone in this whole process because a lot
of the jurors?
No, the families.
The families.
Because the community, especially the people that knew him or whatever, they really rallied behind Gene.
I can't imagine what that would feel like for somebody that you see as your daughter's rapist and your daughter's murderer, and to see people being like,
oh, well, maybe he didn't do it.
I don't think
know.
Yeah.
Well,
why are you rallying around somebody that
Another thing that happened that was really upsetting to the families, I don't know who said he could do this, I guess a judge or something, but they allowed him to do...
Please don't tell me he talked.
They allowed him to do an interview with the press.
What?
Like a press conference. But they wouldn't allow them to ask any questions about
So
the
he
crime.
could just spiel off some random shit.
how have you been treated in prison? Like, what do you like to do to pass the time? Like, and they were like, this man just got the opportunity just to talk. Like, nobody pressed him, like, why did you do it? Are you guilty? Like, all this stuff. And he was obviously denying guilt the entire time. He pled not guilty. But that was a huge smack in the face to the families, that he was just allowed to behave in this type of way.
Kiki with the fucking
to Kiki.
class, yeah.
And when their daughters are, like, they're dead. Their daughters are dead. They were murdered.
Like, you are no longer the same person that you were before you sent your daughter to camp.
No, never will be.
Never will be. And now you have to watch this guy that you see as the person that took this life that you once knew away from you. Mm-hmm. And you get to see him just be like, the food's all right. My bed could be better.
Yes.
Like, I would be livid. I would actually I would be arrested so many times myself, because I would just throw shit at him. I'd be like, you did it. You're fucking burn.
It was fucking horrible.
Yeah.
The fact that and whether or not they think he did these crimes, he was already convicted of the rape and attempted murder.
What do you mean, like, character statements? What character statements are you going to say against the guy that raped and he murdered 2 women that were pregnant? Quadruple homicide.
Quadruple. Okay, so the trial did eventually rather quickly come to an end. Not super quickly, but it didn't drag on as long as you would think it did.
Okay.
And after, obviously, the juror were sent to deliberate, and after a short deliberation of 5 hours, they came back, and the jury found that Hart was not guilty of the murders. However, he was sent back to prison to serve his remaining time for the previous rapes, and then 3 months later, at the age of 35, he died of a heart attack. There was suspicion that he was poisoned, but an autopsy confirmed it was a heart attack. And actually, his only brother died of a heart attack at age 36. So a lot of people were like, it's divine intervention. Like, he obviously did it, like, sort of thing. But obviously that just means that if he did do it, he never got he never...
And his parents never got... The children's parents never got the actual closure that they could have had.
No, and so
that I would have been not happy with, because, I don't have my child anymore. Mm-hmm. But I would have been like, okay, now I know that you are put away, you're off the streets for something that you did, that instead of, like, for the parents, it's... So this is why you weren't sure whether or not it was a cold case, because this guy died, but the case was actually never solved.
Well, to this day, no one has ever been
tried.
Convicted. Of the Oklahoma Girl Scout murders, because Gene Hart was tried.
Yeah.
And charged and accused of the murders, but he was never convicted of it. Mm-hmm. So decades later, DNA testing has been done since like the last 25 years, but apparently the results were inconclusive. While some say investigators remain convinced Hart was responsible, the truth remains elusive.
Yeah.
And in the 2010s, a new sheriff, Mike Reed of Mays County, where the murder took place, started looking even deeper into the investigation. Apparently, Lori Farmer's parents came to him one of his first days, and went to him and we want to know what happened, all of this. And I believe he said there is DNA testing that they've done today that if it was at the trial at the time of the death, he definitely would have been convicted for the murders. Not necessarily saying it's 100% match.
Yeah.
But at the time of the murders, they did do blood DNA testing, and both the blood at the crime scene that didn't match the girls and his blood were a type O.
Oh,
but they said
that's rare.
Highly likely, not definite. It was highly likely it was his DNA at the testing, but that wasn't a strong enough case in the 70s.
Okay.
And I said,
they came back with the jurors were told that when they were still no, I don't think he's guilty.
Yeah.
A hung jury, if anything, you know what I mean?
I know, redo it. And it's very interesting, kind of the things that you were saying while I was saying this, because this sheriff, Mike Reed, who I believe is the sheriff of Mays County now, he thinks the murders were premeditated, that the suspect likely knew which girl he wanted and had a plan. So I feel probably were right, and if you and him are right, it's he was probably scoping out the premises.
That's what it seems like, because it's how did he know to choose these 3 girls that essentially were just buddied up because they didn't come with somebody else? They wouldn't have that, you know what I mean?
Well, he also probably
but
picked
I
which
guess it's
tent.
also the first night.
He picked which tent to go to. He knew it was out of sight.
The direct opposite one from the
counselor that was obstructed.
Mm-hmm.
He probably knew that it was a vast like piece of land. He obviously bludgeoned those 2 girls to death so that he really only had to handle one.
Yeah.
So he didn't have to worry about like noises or anything. And then even the counselor that went to investigate, like, you know, didn't really go that far into the woods. I mean, she was a young girl. There's no
and like
blame.
I said, I'm not going that far into the woods as a 32-year-old. I'm going 5 feet before the woods line. I'm not even going up to the woods line.
No.
Maybe
I'm
10.
telling somebody else.
Go check that out. Rebecca,
Rebecca?
we're going to need you to check out the woods line. Thank you.
So
I heard
Lori,
a twig snap.
Lori Farmer, Michelle Guy's, and Denise Milner's families still deserve justice. Their lives were stolen too soon, and their stories continue to haunt those who remember that summer at Camp Scott.
It's just like not a favorable end because it's like if he was the one that did it, you're not going to get that conviction because A, he's dead. B, they've been doing DNA testing and hopefully there'll be enough DNA to retest again when DNA testing, I'm sure it's going to continue to grow and kind of like fine tune.
But obviously, you know, Lori and Denise's parents are obviously getting older. Who knows, like, when they're going to be able to get the answers.
Yeah.
If they're going to be able to get the answers before, you know, they
anything
pass
happens,
or
yeah.
anything. But, I mean, it's a really sad story. And that is the story of the Oklahoma Girl Scout murders. It's a pretty dark one. I haven't done something like that before.
Yeah.
I almost was like, no, I'm not going to do this. Because I was like, this is horrible.
It's fucking terrible.
But I hope I did some justice for the girls.
Thank you. I think you
and the
did. I think it
murder.
was great because I haven't heard of this. I think that, if anything, just getting the word out on murders and, like, you know, every now and again creating that traction again on how that's going to happen as people
never
talk
know.
about it.
If somebody might know something.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? Like, maybe somebody finally feels bad about something. And I don't know. I mean, I think there could have possibly been more than one person involved in this.
Yeah.
For sure. But I don't know. I don't know how I feel about if the cops handled the scene properly, if we could ever really know the answers to it. I mean, that's what sucks so much about cases that happen, like, so far.
And especially in the
long ago.
70s because there's a plethora of them. But it's also, like, knowing what we know now, like, you guys fucked yourselves in the long run just doing a lot of things that you thought were, you know, that could have been taught to you or, you know, it's just, like, in hindsight, I would be like, keep the media out. How do they know? B, why are they anywhere near the
I mean, they do that now,
crime
but
scene?
they
Yeah,
didn't do that back then, I know. There's
Yeah.
so many things they could have learned of, or could have done differently back then.
Yeah. But I think you did this. I think you did this case justice.
Thank you.
I think you had a lot
It'll
of.
be a while before I do something like this
Yeah,
again.
it's tough. It's tough to do dark cases.
Yeah, not a fan. So we will catch you in the shadows
And stay ghouly.